Week 17, Fine Arts, Michelangelo, Cycle 1, using Discovering Great Artists, the second edition. We're not doing what's in the book. Instead, Michelangelo was known for painting into wet plaster, so we are sort of going to simulate that. We have a foam paper plate and a piece of burlap, and this we're going to do before the students come in. I've mixed up some plaster of Paris. It's 2 parts plaster to 1 part water. And this will be dry and ready for them to work with when they arrive in class. But I just wanted to show you how I prepared it. I'm just jostling it to make it smooth. Yes, that was perfect. By the way, that was 1/3 cup of plaster, and I eyeballed 1/6 cup of water, and that is perfect on a regular, very cheap Walmart brand foam plate. So now we'll let that dry. So my plaster dried nicely, and I haven't decided what I'm gonna do yet, but if you wanted to make this the morning of, you absolutely could. You could come in before 9 o'clock and make all of these in some classroom, and they would definitely be dry enough to use by the time your first class has art. Or you could make them the night before and stack them all up and take them that way. I don't know which one I'll do yet, but when you're ready to actually have art, you're gonna need to re-wet it because this is dry. So we're gonna re-wet it. Just gonna spray water all over it. And then I'm gonna use oil pastels to draw my picture. And the nice thing about oil pastels is that you can smear them. So there is my oil pastel. Painting on, it's to simulate painting on wet plaster. See how I basically colored the whole thing. So if you've got kids who are finishing their drawings quickly, just have them kind of color like that and then smudge it all around, basically everywhere, to kind of create a background color. Okay, I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna do this in class, but I might, especially because I think we might have time. I don't know if this is gonna take the whole time. So when they're done, totally done with their drawing and coloring, they can pick it up and just break it. You're breaking it apart to cause cracks. And I can see that there's some shards that are coming up. I have a feeling if I had let this plaster dry overnight, it would be not cracking up so bad. I think so if I flipped it over, it would probably fall apart. But I'm gonna stop now, and it's nice and cracked. I'm gonna lay it back down, and I'm gonna pour school glue all over it. And then using a paintbrush, I'm just gonna paint it all over. So the paint is gonna fill in the cracks to make it back to one piece. So it's gonna look like a really old fresco. Because remember, Michelangelo was known for his frescoes, which are painting in this wet plaster. All right, so I lost one of my shards, but that's okay. So it's really thick. So I may just tell parents that they can do this at home because I don't know if this will dry in time. I'll have to see and I'll report back. But that didn't take long. And by the way, I would definitely show pictures of Michelangelo. This is the Sistine Chapel. I would show some of his different frescoes and paintings and things that he's famous for. when we talk about him. But fresco is one of the things that he's most famous for because it's how he painted the Sistine Chapel. So this will be a really fun art project. Even if you don't end up doing the glue part, you could at least tell your community how they could do that at home, because most people have school glue at home. So that's Michelangelo. Here's my final project. It's glossy, and since it's all cracky, it looks nice and old. I'm very happy with the final project. The glue is still a little bit tacky. I imagine that more drying will make it even less tacky, but I'm very, very happy with this. Since last night's last video and this morning, I did find out, because I rewatched the original video where I learned this technique, and you should not use oil-based things. So I used oil pastels, which is probably, and they were wiping off really easily, and it's probably because they're oil-based. So I had the pastel thing right, but not oil-based. So what you need to get, and what I ordered for my community, is just regular pastels. Sometimes they're called chalk pastels, but just not oil pastels, okay? So have a great week on Michelangelo frescoes. Yes.